Hi everyone, my name is Kavya. I live in London, where I'm in my penultimate year of high school. I'm an avid politics student with a particular interest in global politics and international relations. This interest inspired me to write my research paper on the question, is India tapping into its potential to become a global leader? Thank you to Polygence and to my mentor Litsi for their help on advising me on my research and helping me publish my paper. My research paper discusses India's leadership capabilities and potential to become a world leader by exploring how it engages with the world's developing regions, including Asia, Africa, and Latin America. It questions whether India is capable of increasing its power over and bettering its relationships with other nations in order to fulfill its ambitions. To this end, my research has led me to examine India's internal capacity to become a global leader and the extent to which India's political and economic climate enable this global reach. Now, there has been a transformation in India's status and material capabilities in the global order. In 2022, India became the world's fifth largest economy, having replaced the United Kingdom, and is expected to become the third largest by 2027. India is aspiring for permanent membership on the UN Security Council, and it has formed the Asian Infrastructure Bank and the BRICS Contingent Reserve Arrangement alongside other emerging economies. As part of its G20 presidency, India hosted a virtual Voice of the Global South summit, hosting 120 countries to gather their priorities and understand how India can support these countries on the global stage with its presidency. India is attempting to become a legitimate economic and political global power by expanding its influence in different regions through economic assistance, soft power, and political influence. My paper focuses on the impact of India's strategic partnerships with various countries and regions across the globe on its global standing. My research has relied on extensive literature review, specifically the works of different international relations scholars, as well as government documents. My research examined India's relationship with different regions in terms of trade and economic cooperation, including the South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation, known as SARC, the Association for Southeast Asian Nations, known as ASEAN, the Middle East, Europe, North America, and Latin America. Moreover, it also explored India's internal political and economic climate by analyzing population and demographic changes to gauge its development level. Now, what is a world leader and how exactly can India become one? A world leader is a country that is capable of extending help to prevent global crises, bring countries together to maintain global peace and security, and lead the world on a global platform. India has the opportunity of becoming a global leader and leading the way for developing countries, as well as becoming a stabilizing force in the world. Not only is India strategically placed in the Indian Ocean, but it's also a nuclear power, and it has the most powerful military after the US, Russia, and China. India's strengths, however, are not confined to its economic and military power. India's economy is growing at an explosive rate, and the nation is the most populous country in the world, as well as the world's largest democracy. Region-specific policies, including the Look East policy and the Link West policy, have aided India in engaging with countries in developing regions and promoting Indian values and support. India's engagement in developing countries in Africa have followed its G20 priorities of ensuring food security, climate finance, global health resilience, and sustainable development. Similarly, India's aim to improve its relationship with Southeast Asian countries and dilute China's assertiveness in the region, while India's boosted bilateral ties with both Arab countries and Israel, while continuing to support a two-state solution to the issue of Palestine. India's leadership has certainly been shown in these regions, and India's willingness to strengthen ties with and support developing countries demonstrates India's capability of becoming a global leader. However, it must be noted that India has yet to show leadership and cooperation in its own region, illustrated through the failure of SARC, and has preferred to engage bilaterally with countries rather than multilaterally. For India to become a global leader, it must be willing to exercise its power and to engage with multiple countries on an international platform. India has continued to seek a permanent seat on the UN Security Council, but it has yet to show initiative to lead the world when tackling issues such as climate change, security, and trade. An example of this is seen in India's co-founding of the International Solar Alliance with France. This has proven that India is willing to utilize multilateral cooperation to mitigate environmental risks, but the alliance does not effectively tackle the issue of energy transition to address climate change. China's growing influence also limits India's potential to become a global power. China has developed ties with India's neighbouring countries and globally due to its Belt and Road Initiative, which has largely been successful for the nation. India is unable to compete with China's economic and technological capacity, and while it is ambitious to present itself as a competitor of China's, this does still remain an aspiration. India is a regional power in South Asia, which is vastly due to its size, population, and armed forces. But India needs more than a fast-growing economy to become a global power. It requires intent to collaborate with other countries and ensure that its voice is heard on the global stage as a dominating force, which India has failed to do even in regions such as Africa and East Asia, where its engagement has been overshadowed by Chinese influences. Now that we've explored India's engagement with other nations, we can delve into India's internal capacity to become a global leader and the extent to which India's political and economic climate enable this global reach. India has overtaken China to become the most populous country in the world, and it is predicted that Indians' median age will be approximately 33 to 34 years old in 25 years' time. This allows India to maximize its demographic dividend, which will help India's development and capacity to become a world power. However, India does face a major challenge in its development due to poverty, with 374 million people in India lacking nutrition, sanitation, housing, and cooking fuel. While India has made significant efforts to reduce poverty, with 415 million people in India being lifted out of poverty in 15 years, India needs to overcome poverty and invest in its population if it wants to ensure the benefits of its demographic dividend. India also needs to ensure equal access to education for its youth population, as the gross enrollment ratio for enrollment into higher education in India currently stands at 15%, which is largely attributed to poor education facilities, lack of qualified teachers, and barriers for students due to socioeconomic class and gender. However, it must be noted that India has progressed in the field of technology, with India's $3 billion startup initiative making India the third largest startup ecosystem in the world after the US and China. And it has also provided job opportunities and potential for India to develop itself digitally to rival global powers. India's diplomatic efforts and influences that have helped India tap into its potential to become a world leader by allowing India's leadership to extend far beyond economic power. India created the new education program in 2020, intending to encourage foreign universities to build campuses in India and promote Indian universities to do the same abroad, which will encourage cooperation between India and other countries to collaborate to further education opportunities for all students. India has also been a significant contributor to the UN peacekeeping force, with India providing an all-female contingent to the peacekeepers in 2007, being the first country in the world to do so. Furthermore, India has extended its cooperation and support to countries around the world through space cooperation, notably highlighted through building a ground station in Vietnam alongside ASEAN, and humanitarian support highlighted during the 2004 tsunami in the Indian Ocean. While India has collaborated with other countries and supported them through policies and initiatives, India has the potential to cooperate further with other countries and further on its development cooperation strategy, which it has used successfully in Africa, to aid the development of low-income countries around the world. To conclude, my research has found that India must broaden its focus beyond its economic capabilities and prioritize the education and anti-discrimination efforts aimed at the country's youthful demographic in order to attain the status of a global powerhouse. In terms of India becoming a world power, India needs to move beyond its economic capabilities and its preference for bilateralism to engage on a multilateral level with regions and show initiative to take leadership to tackle global problems. Thank you for watching my presentation. If you want to know more about my research findings, you can read my paper in the December 2023 edition of the Curio Journal.